There are some obvious rules. It's important to listen carefully.
Let me finish, my guy.
Pay close attention to your opponents.
Good to see you again.
Okay. This is my first time.
Establish authority.
Sorry, I don't know that word.
And avoid threatening behaviour.
If I slit your throat now, would that be bad?
I recently took part in a debate on Jubilee Surrounded, 1 vegan versus 20 meat eaters. I was the vegan. Well, actually, I debated 21 meat eaters because for the first time in the show's history, the moderator couldn't help but jump in.
I'm breaking protocol. This is real quick.
It was a show full of first times. It was the first Jubilee Surrounded to have zero fact checking. It was the first whose star, me, at the time of recording, had fewer than 200 followers. And in reality, it was my first proper debate. But I'm not new to arguing, and I'm not new to debating. After all, philosophy's all about debating. And that's what I want to do today. Not just react to the Jubilee debate, but share some secrets with you too. That is, how to debate like a philosopher.
All right, let's get into it.
There are 4 philosophical techniques that I use during the debate, things that you can use in your own work. Number 1. The fool. When Socrates was walking around the Agora, Athens' ancient marketplace, he didn't preach to people about what he thought of the world. He didn't just go up to people and say, you should think what I think. That's a really, really bad way of arguing, and it closes people off pretty quickly. Instead, whenever he could, he would build his objections within the other person's point of view. These are called shallow arguments, and the shallower the argument, the better. What we want to do is take our opponent's beliefs and their underlying views, their faith, their ethics, their interests, and show them that something follows from them. In this case, veganism. The fewer beliefs we have to challenge, the better, and the more likely we are to get them and the spectator, who shares their opinion, on side. Instead of enforcing my own ethical system, I looked for a common principle shared by every sensible worldview and went from there.
Extreme suffering for trivial pleasure is morally indefensible.
It wasn't until an hour into the show when somebody, David, asked me what my own approach was.
So I just wanted to ask you, are you religious in any way?
Some of the main arguments against veganism are health. So when somebody came to me with health concerns, I showed them how veganism should follow from their own concerns. The same was true in the environment. I've never seen a boxing match in my entire life, but I knew that I had to be ready for somebody who might be into boxing, who thought that most of the world's best boxers were non-vegans.
I'm a Sierra Leonean professional boxer.
Cool.
I just want to have the
Some
conversation.
of the best boxers are vegans, aren't they?
Oh, no, they're not. That
David
was a
Hay,
lie.
Brian Jennings.
2. Yeah.
That's
keep
2. So
going.
Akali.
Okay, that's 3.
Over 90% of the world's population are religious, and I was obviously visiting the United States, where the majority of the people there are Christian. So I knew that I had to be ready from a Christian point of view, and mirrored the argument that was offered by my boy David.
Do you believe in the Bible?
Yes.
And you're
And
not
in the Bible, in Genesis, it mentions that animals, they were created for humans to consume.
Genesis 1:29, the first teaching on it, God gives human beings a strictly vegetarian diet.
God also says in the Bible, in Genesis, that animals are meant to be consumed and killed by
After
people.
we sin. So God creates the world. Genesis 1:29, he says we're allowed to eat fruits and trees that bear seeds. Then the original sin, i.e. evil, enters the world. And at the end of time,
That's
Isaiah,
cool.
at the end
The
of time,
original sin,
Isaiah,
that has nothing to do with
at
eating
the
meat.
end of time, Isaiah 11, the lion will eat straw with the ox. So it's almost as if on the Christian tradition, the whole world is sandwiched together in veganism. God creates the world perfectly. We sin and live in sin, and at the end of time, we're brought together with God in vegetarianism again.
Okay.
When you've got this little amount of time, and you're not trying to tell people that the things they value just don't matter, you should be ready for all kinds of arguments, including the argument that people just like burgers.
So I would say veganism is not good for the world. And my number 1 point is burgers. Have you ever had a burger
Yeah.
with cheese on it?
Yeah.
Have you had a burger? And what do you think?
I think that people aren't the experts they think about their own mind. Giovanni Savani did a study in 2023 where he looked at 175 people and give them blind taste tests and informed taste tests. The majority couldn't figure out which one was the beef burger and the plant-based burger, and when on the informed taste test, they all preferred the plant-based burger over the beef burger. So no, I don't buy it. When we look at what people do when they're not in this debate setting, it's not clear that they prefer it.
Always offer shallow arguments before you dive deeper. You're the fool. You're Socrates. Know that you know nothing. You have no depth. you have no philosophy. The gadfly. The most infamous technique of Socrates' was, no doubt, he was questioning, using questions to expose what someone really thinks and whether it makes sense. When you're debating, your job is to be the gadfly. Socrates was annoying, he was rude, he was damn right relentless. Ask the questions and make sure you get an answer.
Our entire existence as human species has been around eating meats. And for you to just say all of a sudden to be like, oh, you shouldn't do that anymore is kind of asinine.
Asinine? Sorry, I don't know that word. But only humans count?
Yes.
Why?
I don't think that's
Why?
ethical to say because we are human. Newsflash,
So
we're
it's-
both human.
So it's circular. Humans matter because they're humans, and why do humans matter? Because they're humans?
Yes.
So it's a circular argument.
I would, you know what?
You can't ground it in anything else.
I can
Well, let me
ground-
ask you this. If the human was dead and one was alive, which one would you give the better treatment?
The one that is already, that's
The
still
one
living?
that's alive, yeah. So
Yes.
it's not just about being human, it's about being a living human. The conscious human or the non-conscious human. The one that's got freedom of the will, the one that's got projects, long lives to live. It's not just the fact they're human. There are lots of intrinsic values to being a human being that are comparable to other non-human animals.
Absolutely. So,
Oh, no,
okay.
absolutely, that's great. So
Okay,
it's not just
so
because
here's-
they're human.
here's the thing.
And it's
Okay,
comparable
let's
to
say-
the other animals.
let's
Would you
say-
agree with that then?
And you just said,
No, I don't want a new
vegan.
argument. I want the thing we're talking about. I don't want to move the goalposts. You said being human is valuable because it's human, and then you've listed a bunch of things that are valuable about being human, and they count for non-human animals as well.
No, they don't, because animals
So
do not
animals
have,
aren't conscious?
They do not have.
Animals aren't conscious.
They are
They're not
conscious.
alive?
They are alive.
They can
Well, so
feel
are plants.
pleasure and-
but
Yeah, but they're not
plants are
conscious.
alive. Okay, so animals don't have the level of consciousness that
What
humans
does
have.
level of consciousness mean?
So they don't feel as much empathy.
Like
or-
an elephant,
or
when it
like-
comes across another dead elephant, will cry even if it doesn't know it. Is that
That
not
is
empathy?
true, but they
How come the
don't
gorilla
have a
cried
sense
when
of
its kitten
future.
died? That's
But
empathy.
regardless,
What you said was wrong.
Outside of a debate or a philosophy seminar room, I don't recommend being a gadfly, but when you are, make sure that people answer your question. Of course, that goes the other way as well. You should always answer your opponent's questions. There are 3 reasons for this. Number 1, they're your opponent. You owe them a certain level of respect. That certain level of respect is if they're answering your questions, you should answer their questions as well. Number 2, they're very unlikely to be answering your questions if you're not answering their questions. So you've got a reason, argumentatively speaking, to answer their questions as well. Number 3, it's not just about you and your opponent. You're also trying to convince the audience too that your view is the most sensible. And if you're dodging questions, if you're acting in bad faith, or you've been manipulative or being a little bit sly, they're going to know that you're doing that. So don't be. Just answer the question as best you can. That's true even if you don't know the answer.
How is corn grown?
You put it in the ground, you put water on it, you put sunlight on it.
Okay, but it grows in soil.
Yeah.
And how does soil grow?
How does soil grow?
Even if you need to take a best guess.
How many deaths of cows is equal to the death of one Jewish person in Auschwitz? Give me the number.
Can we extract the Jewish person Auschwitz?
Well, I'm just
from
using.
the
Well, I'm
example?
using the worst atrocity I can think of.
Well, I don't like to play into the
Are you cool with
anti-Semitic. I think a human being is significantly more valuable than a cow.
How much? 4 cows is roughly a
I'll
human.
give you a number. I'll say 1,000 cows.
And even when the time is gone.
If
Is
it
it
came
not
out
a trivial
tomorrow
pleasure? That's
that
my
trees
claim
could
here.
feel pain 5 times as strongly as animals,
Okay,
would you
pause.
say we can't eat trees?
Pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your
Yeah,
seat.
I would.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The Archer, the first 2 lessons, the Fool and the Gadfly, are about what your opponent thinks. The last 2 lessons are about you. The Archer fires shots carefully and precisely at the right time. They practice in front of a target. So when they end up on the battlefield, their shots don't miss. Keep your argument short and easy to understand.
Let me give you this question. You can have sex and it was unethical, non-consensual, but it was great, or you can have the consensual sex and it's not quite as good. Which one do you pick?
Probably a cheeseburger. I think.
Which one do you pick out of the 2 of them?
Well, you said
Which
that
one do you pick out of the 2 of them? Just pick one.
the ethical.
Don't pick the non-consensual.
Well, the ethical
sex.
one.
My best advice for this would be to make sure that your argument only consists of a couple of premises and a conclusion. Make sure there are only 2 steps to the conclusion that you want to bring them to.
We agreed that harming animals for sport is bad, and therefore, if we think that, it would translate to us harming animals for our own sporting excellence, wouldn't it?
No, it would not.
Why?
It would not because of the feeling. You're coming in from a very
The feeling?
emotional
What does that mean?
point of view.
I'm not emotional at all.
You're very emotional. You keep a very stoic face, but you're very emotional on the inside.
There's nothing wrong with emotions. Emotions are evaluative things, aren't they?
I guess if you see the
But
world
you're,
in that point
but
of
you're
view.
ignoring the main point. We both agree that harming animals for sport is bad, but you're happy to do it.
Did I say I was happy to do it?
Well, you're on the meat-eating side, aren't you?
Of course I'm on the meat-eating side.
If your argument's only got a couple of premises, your opponent needs to respond to one of those premises. It's clear to them, it's clear to you, it's clear to the audience that unless they're rejecting one of those premises, then they're diverting away from the question. So make sure your argument is super simple, super concise, only has a couple of steps, and therefore everyone can understand the argument and will be drawn towards the conclusion that you're offering.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your willies together for the executioner!
They say that debating a philosopher is like wrestling with a pig in the mud. After a while, you realise that the pig is enjoying it. But like the pig, the philosopher doesn't want the wrestling to end. The end of an argument is not the fun part. If you've argued with anybody in your life that's close, when you win the argument, it's not as good as you thought it would feel. Socrates found this out the hard way, executed by the people of Athens for showing people up and being very arrogant in doing so. There are times when you should flag when an argument is dead in the water, when someone said something that's wrong. Someone's offered an argument, you've offered a rebuttal, and they're not responding to it. So you can call it what it is. You can point to the argument and go, that argument's dead. That wasn't a good reason, in this case, to not be vegan. But don't be thumping your chest or being nasty about your opponents, because that's not the goal. And it looks bloody awful. Execute your arguments in a way that reflects your character. And when it's over, don't name call.
Folks are wondering what my strategy was for debating some of those freaks and loons.
Don't turn your nose up at your opponents.
We're at home. Okay, and that is astoundingly stupid.
About 4 people on the meat-eating side of the show told me that they would be reducing their meat intake. That included the moderator, John, who joined in the debate halfway through the show. He's told me that, quote, he's gone 90% vegan.
This argument really rings true to me, and so I really do want to commit to taking big steps towards being vegan. And, you know, I had a Impossible meat two days this week, and I had chickpeas last night. So making steps, I guess I can tell you, I can commit to aiming to be like 90% vegan.
Rhetorically speaking, if I'd have punched my opponent in the face, if I was nasty or put them down or thumped my chest, I don't think that people would have been as convinced by my arguments. Let your arguments do the talking. Don't be cringe. Don't make yourself look like a donut. And don't just be bloody normal. I haven't always followed that advice before, and I've came across unlikable. But the Jubilee audience like me.
The Jubilee audience seemed to really, really like me.
They like anybody who's going against conservatives.
But if there's one thing which the philosophers didn't teach us, was that in order to win a debate or do well in public speaking, you need an absolute banging playlist ready to listen through before you jump on. So I'm going to share my Jubilee playlist. It's in the description. It's linked to my own Spotify account. Check it out if you're ever doing anything which you think you need a bit of momentum for, you need a bit of focus for, and stick it on. There's some absolute tunes on there. Best luck in your own debates, especially to my fellow vegans. Hope you found something in here to aid your own conversations. As for me, I might do another video on this, on the Jubilee debate, probably a Jubilee Q&A, or one possibly ranking the best arguments against veganism from the show. If you're interested in seeing any of those, then leave a comment down below. If you're interested in seeing neither of them, then please leave the most derogatory comment that you can think of.